Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Now, we are done with Umrah. Out of the state of Ihram. For Tawaf, I said for Hajj Qiran, so there is a Tawaf, after the Umrah, a Tawaf Qudum is done. And that's a normal Tawaf, as if it's done for Umrah. That's it. And you can do sa'i after that, or what I said, that you can delay it is also a choice not to do sa'i at that time. If you do sa'i after Tawaf Qudum, then once you do Tawaf Ziyarah, and we'll talk about that inshallah now, then you don't do sa'i at that time. So if you do sa'i after Tawaf Qudum in Hajj Qiran, then you do not do sa'i after Tawaf Ziyarah. But if you do not do sa'i after Tawaf Qudum, then you do sa'i after Tawaf Ziyarah. Right? So there is one sa'i, either with Tawaf Qudum or with Tawaf Ziyarah, in short, to be simple. Alright, so now you are doing Hajj Tamattu, you did your Umrah, you shave your head, you do your halaq for men only, and you do your qasr. Any of you, I said recommended, please do halaq for men. I strongly recommend halaq for men, please. Allah Ta'ala will give you more honor, more respect, inshallah, when you do halaq. And then you are out of the state of Ihram. If you're a few days in Makkah Mukarramah, then spend those days in praying. Make sure you do all prayers with congregation. Don't miss your prayers in congregations. Go a little early. Do your sunnahs for all the sunnahs. Wherever there is a sunnah, spend time, tilawat, zikr, muraqabah, whatever. Alright, it's a lot of reward for that. Every prayer counts 100,000 times more reward than no prayer done at any other place. So please. Alright, one thing is that one problem is that because people are doing tawaf, men, women, sometimes the congregation, it starts, and they have to settle, everybody has to settle. And sometimes women, they come and stand right next to you. If they're touching you in the congregation, then your prayer is not valid. Your prayer is not valid if they are standing next to you and touching you in the same prayer, in the same congregational prayer. So please have to have some distance if there is somehow women standing, but try to avoid that scenario. Okay? Alright, so Makkah Mukarramah, please, as I said, don't do haram, any sin. We have already done tawbah before going to Hajj. So make sure that you keep up with your tawbah in there as well. Also know that as the reward is multiplied 100,000 times, the sin is also multiplied in there. So doing one sin in haram area, it has very, very deep effect in haram area. Alright, so please make sure, as I said, all sins, biggest sin can be of the eyes. So please never turn off this TV in your hotel rooms. Please watch out for your cell phones. Argumentations, please don't argue, never argue. Be soft, smiling, loving, caring. Spending time in haram is very good. But again, do what makes sense. Don't exhaust yourself. You can do tawafs, extra tawafs, but don't exhaust yourself. Do not exhaust yourself. Rest as much as you can. Eat properly. Please take care of yourself, because the goal is Hajj. We are going there for Hajj. That's our goal. Now, 8th of Zulhijjah comes. 8th is the first day of Hajj. 8th of Zulhijjah is the day 1 of Hajj. So what you do is that, basically, ideally speaking, the sunnat is to leave after sunrise. But nowadays, because there are too much crowd, there are some groups that may take you on the night of 7th as well. So don't start fighting with them, or why you're taking me now, I have to read. The sunnah is go 8th. Do whatever group is doing. Don't argue, so because you have to move with the group, so make sure that you move with the group. So, 8th of Zulhijjah, after sunrise, it is, alright, so put on ihram wherever you are. From Makkah Mukarramah, or there's a place called Aziziyah, which is very close to Makkah Mukarramah, right next in fact. It is between Makkah Mukarramah and Mina, the Mina where the day one is spent of the Hajj. So it's right next to the border of both. So majority of the groups, because of the saving costs and also, less hotels in these day and age, in these times, in these months, and a lot of construction is going on. So they, put people in Aziziyah, in apartment buildings there. So just put on ihram, the way that we put, if you are doing Hajj Tamattu, you have already gotten out of the state of ihram, so redo your ihram, the way that we put ihram for the first time. If you are doing Hajj Qiran, you are already in the state of ihram, so you don't need to worry about that. So put on ihram right before you go to Mina, and then you go to Mina. So Mina is like a plain, it's like a huge piece of land. So what is done on the 8th of Dhul Hijjah, you just go there, settle there. So there are tents allocated for groups. So your group will be told that this is your camp, this is your numbers, whatever their tent numbers, group numbers. So you go and you settle in there, and actually you don't have to do anything specific. So you spend your day, normal zikr, tilawat, your prayers. Basically it's just that. Alright? For this travel, in these 5 days, so if you have like a bigger suitcase that you might have taken along, don't take big suitcases in there. It's very difficult. So to keep like small, handy things, small bags, alright, and necessary items. Just necessary items. And anyway, one extra pair of ihram, as I said, you are not going to come back into your normal clothes until 10th. So 8th, 9th, 10th, 3 days gone with ihram. How many left? 10th, 11th, 12th, or max 13. Depends. I'll talk about that inshallah. So, pair of clothes, pair of your clothes, pair of ihram, extra pair of ihram, one you've already put on. And very basic things. Don't put a lot of stuff when you're going for your Hajj, these 5-6 days of Hajj. Once you put on ihram for Hajj, alright, one thing I think I did mention, or I did not mention, I cannot remember. When we're doing talbiyah, remember we're reciting the talbiyah for Umrah. So we continue doing talbiyah, but right before the tawaf starts, you stop talbiyah. There is no talbiyah after that. There is no talbiyah in tawaf, there is no talbiyah in sa'i. The talbiyah stops right before we started our tawaf. Remember when before starting we made the niyat by turning towards the Kaaba and then raising our hands. And so before that talbiyah ends, no talbiyah. Now, if you're putting on we're putting on ihram again for Hajj on the 8th of Zulhijjah or whenever 7th, then you start talbiyah again. So for all talbiyah all along, so you can all day Mina on 8th, you can also add talbiyah in your askar as well. It's a very good dhikr to do. Traveling, sitting, whatever. So normally you will reach there before Zuhr. Be patient. Just be patient. Make sure you be patient. It can be a little challenging at times. Alright, the men and women, they stay in different tents. They're not so, normally they are right next to each other in the group. So there's men's tent and the women's tent, but they are separate. So you will not be with your wife. I don't know if it's good or bad. Depends, huh? Alright, so very limited space. Very limited. Possibly you'll only be given a mattress. That's your space. Your mattress. So you have to manage in that space. And right next, it's all like everybody's sleeping on the floor right next to each other. Sometimes it does happen that people will just come and grab your mattress. You go out for your toilet, and you come back and somebody else is sleeping at your mattress. So don't start arguing, shouting, fighting. Inshallah, alhamdulillah, try it and try to find another space. Inshallah, Allah Ta'ala will give you one. Alright? Okay. Now, it's a difference of opinion, but I did not tell it earlier, but according to Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi alayhi, in travel, you do qasr, and you shorten your prayer, but you don't combine, you don't do jama of the prayer. The prayer is done at its prescribed times. So Zuhr at the time of Zuhr, Asr at the time of Asr, Maghrib at the time of Maghrib, Isha at the time of Maghrib. And Shawafi', they do combine prayers. They do combine Zuhr, Asr, and they do combine Maghrib, Isha at either of their times. Ahnaf, they don't. They have their dalail and all of that's a detailed discussion as to why do they say what they say. But, whatever you follow that. Alright, if you're Shafi, you can combine prayers. If you're Hanafi, you do not combine the prayers. Alright? One more thing. In travel. I told you that the travel is less than, if you're staying for less than 15 days. You remain as a traveler. What I mean was that you stay at one place for less than 15 days. But if you are moving, say for example, your whole trip, your whole Hajj package, is say for example, 20 days. So it's not traveling for 20 days. So you say out of those 20 days, you're staying for 13 days in Makkah Mukarramah and 7 days in Medina Munawwara. So it would be two different things. So it won't be 20 days travel. It would be 13 at one place and then 7 at another place. So it will still be counted, all of those 20 days will be counted as travel. Understood? So it's at one specific place. Staying for less than 15 days is travel. Understood? It's not. So if you're moving, then it will restart. Understood? See. So there is no combining of prayers for Ahnaf if you're following Hanafi. So you have to do it at their time. Day number 2, 9th of Dhul Hijjah. So after sunrise, we all leave for Arafat. If you leave before sunrise, it is mentioned here, it's against the sunnah, but again, people do it based on necessities. Because, there's traffic jam, buses get stuck. So some groups, they try to take people at night, after the night of the 8th of Dhul Hijjah as well. Again, please be patient, don't worry, go. It's not haram, especially our ulama have said that now, that based on what is happening out there, because so much traffic, they do take you early as well. So please, don't worry about that. Alright? 9th of Dhul Hijjah is the key day. It's like the most important day of the whole Hajj. Because Prophet ﷺ said that Hajj is Arafat. If you go to Arafat, from Mina to Arafat on 9th of Dhul Hijjah, Hajj is Arafat. And that is the day. If you miss out on that day, there is no Hajj. There is no Hajj. If you miss out on the 9th of Dhul Hijjah. If you miss out on 8th, still it is counted. If, for example, people get late and they actually reach on 9th of Dhul Hijjah, then they reach right in Arafat, their Hajj is valid. Nothing wrong with that. But if you miss out on the 9th, then there is no way that you can do your Hajj. And that Hajj is, Arafat is Hajj. Alright, so what you do that day, we do wuquf. Wuquf means stopping. What is that? Basically it means to stop or stand still. And wuquf is done, is to be in the Arafat for some time. One more thing. In the days of Hajj, the night follows the day. Normally, the day follows the night, right? So the Islamic calendar, with sunset, the next day it starts, right? So for example, Ramadan, today is the 30th of Ramadan, right with the Maghrib time, that will be the 1st of Shawwal started, right? So it will be night of 1st Shawwal. So night comes before the day. In the days of Hajj, day comes before the night. Why did I say that? That if somebody comes to reach Mina after sunset on the 9th of Dhul Hijjah, it will still be wukuf. Is wukuf of Arafat, is staying in Arafat will still be applicable. Because the night follows the day. Understood? It's important to understand that. What do you do in Arafat? Arafat is the day when, subhanAllah, Allah Ta'ala's mercy, it falls like anything. Subhanallah. It is a day when Prophet ﷺ has said that Shaitan, he put dust on his head. That, oh my God, I made so much effort on these people, and they're all here today, and Allah Ta'ala is forgiving all of them. So it is a beautiful day of people's life. It is the best day, I would say, of people's life. Allah Ta'ala gives anybody tawfiq to go in Arafat on the 9th of Dhul-Hijjah with the intention of Hajj, with all of the conditions fulfilled. It's the best day of their life. And it is so basically we make dua. The key is dua. Duas are accepted, like anything. Allah Ta'ala's rain of mercy is falling like anything. All of these people, they come and they raise their hand and they beg Allah Ta'ala for whatever they're in need of. And just imagine, all of these people have left their worldly things, their homes, their clothes, in 2 pieces of clothes, no richness, no wealth, no CEO, no manager, no businessman, no beggar. Everybody wearing 2 pieces of clothes in that state, raising their hands, begging Allah. If these people, this many number of people, they come at the door of a person of a dunya who's rich, he will also show mercy. SubhanAllah, they've left everything begging. Here's Allah. The most merciful, the most generous, Akram al-Akrameen, Arham al-Rahimeen. The attention is right. You get everything what you are in need of. Please make dua. Please beg Allah Ta'ala for all what you are in need of. Everything. And it is sunnah to go out and stand after zawal. It's good to stand out in the sun. Show your weakness to Allah. Stand out, stand and raise your hands and make dua after zawal. It's a sunnah to do that. And Prophet ﷺ raised his hands so much that, people could look at his armpit. This is how he was raising his hands. And people could see his armpit, the whiteness of his armpit. After zawal, sunnah to do that. You can do it all day long. It's not, but after zawal, it is sunnah to go and stand and make dua outside in the sun. And so this is the best thing of this day, dua. As much as you can. Please don't forget me as well. And if there is a masjid called Masjid Namra in Arafat, if you are close to that masjid, it is also sunnah to go and pray your zuhr there. But if you're far, don't try that. Because if you get lost, it's very complicated. It's tents and tents, and every tent is the same. And now you're on your way back. Say, for example, you travel no cars, no buses. You have to walk on foot. And you go there and you lose track on your way back. Every tent is the same. The whole day will be lost. You can get tired, you can get ill, anything can happen. Why? The whole opportunity of making dua, everything will be gone. So if it's far, don't even try. If you're close, go. So what Imam does there, that Imam, he joins Zuhr and Asr together. He joins. So first he gives khutbah. Azan is called, then there are 2 khutbahs, and there is an iqamah for Zuhr, and the Zuhr is prayed 2 rakas, and then again the iqamah is given, and then Asr is prayed. If you are praying at Masjid Namra behind an Imam, then do whatever Imam is doing. So 2 rakas Zuhr, and then 2 rakas Asr. If you are not going, and I recommend if you're far, don't go. Don't exert yourself for no reason. It's neither fard nor wajib. So if you're praying in your tents, then you pray, if you're following Hanafi school, pray 2 rakas of Zuhr at its time and pray 2 rakat of Asr at its time. For Ahnaf, Shawafi has a different ruling. For Ahnaf, it is combined only if it is prayed at Masjid Namra behind the Imam. Alright? So remember that. There is a mountain called Jabal Rahma. Jabal Rahma. You know, it is also sunnah to do wuquf, yani that dua after zawal, close to that. But again, if it's close, then go. If it's not, don't. Don't even try. But don't climb it. Some people start climbing it. There's no reason for climbing it. You can be around it, but don't climb it. Alright? So it is done until the sunset. After sunset, then people start moving from Arafat. People start moving from Arafat to Muzdalifah. 137, slide number 137. So, Muzdalifah is another plain. So, alright, so when sun sets, a more important point, when sun sets, you do not pray Maghrib, irrespective, whatever school you're following. Either in the Ahnaf, you do not pray Maghrib, you leave Arafat, start leaving Arafat, and you go towards Muzdalifah. And once you reach Muzdalifah, then you pray your Maghrib and Isha together there. Alright? Arafat, what did I say? You only combine your prayer if you are praying behind the Imam and Masjid Namra. But if you're praying in your tents, then you pray it at its time. For Ahnaf. Shawafi have different rulings. But for Muzdalifah, you pray Maghrib and Isha at Muzdalifah after you reach Muzdalifah. You don't pray Maghrib at the sunset in Arafat. You leave it, you don't pray. You go towards Muzdalifah in your buses, whatever. And then, and it is done at the time of Isha. Maghrib and Isha at Muzdalifah is prayed at the time of Isha in Muzdalifah. Alright? So, one azan is called, if you're praying in congregation, people can make congregations there. Somebody calls an azan, one iqama is called, and then the Maghrib is prayed, the 3 rakahs of Maghrib, no sunnahs. Then, you pray Isha, no second iqama. So one iqama, one azan, one iqama, then pray 3 rakahs of Maghrib, and then without praying sunnahs, then you stand up again and pray 2 rakahs of Isha. Alright? And then we have to pray sunnahs of Maghrib, then you pray it afterwards. And then the sunnah of Isha and the witr are also prayed afterwards. So, so one azan called, one iqama called, 3 rakahs of Maghrib, and then right after, 2 rakahs of Isha, and all the sunnah and the witr are to be done later on. So it is to be done at the time of Isha at Muzdalifah. Alright, so this is one of those exceptions in Ahnaf where they actually allow you to combine prayers. This exception, normally it's not done, but this is an exception. What if you're stuck in traffic? Sometimes you get stuck in traffic. Once I went to Hajj with my Shaykh, we all got stuck in traffic. We were not standstill buses. Literally standstill. And it was about close to the time of Fajr. We have still not reached Muzdalifah. Yani Isha was going, Fajr was about to enter. So if that happens, then you just, wherever you are, then pray Maghrib and Isha there. So don't, of course, if the Fajr enters, the time of Isha goes, so you pray your Isha, Maghrib and Isha wherever you are then, inshallah. Alright? Alright, what do you do in Muzdalifah? Muzdalifah, there are no tents. It's all open. No tents whatsoever. So you actually sleep in open. One thing that is to be done at Muzdalifah, it is sunnah to collect some pebbles. Small pebbles, pea-sized pebbles. Why? For pelting at Jamarat. And on the 10th Zulhijjah, 11th Zulhijjah, 12th Zulhijjah. Alright, before that, you are allowed to leave on the 12th, but you can also stay back for another day, on the 13th as well. Alright? In Mina. Inshallah, cover that. So you're allowed to leave on the 12th, or you can stay for another day for the 13th. First day of Mina, On the 10th, yani after you reach back in Mina, 10th, you hit the 3 jamarat. They're called jamarat. They're not shayateen. They're jamarat. Some people take them as their shaitan. They take their slippers out and start, calling names and, what do you think of yourself? I'll show you today. So no shaitan, it's jamarat. Alright, so you've hit that with pebbles. So there is the big jamara and the middle jamara and the smaller jamara. Right? Uqba, Wusta and Sora. So on the first day you only hit the bigger one jamara. So 10th of Zulhijjah you only hit 7 pebbles. 10th of Zulhijjah is only 7 pebbles. On the 11th you hit all 3, 7. So how many pebbles do you need for first day? 7. For the second day, yani 11th? 21. 7 plus 21? 28. 12th of Zulhijjah also all 3. So another 21. So 21 plus 28? 49. 49. So if you plan to stay for 3 days, yani for leaving on the 12th, you collect 49 pebbles from Muzdalifah. It's sunnah to do that. From Muzdalifah. If you plan to stay for 13, then it's another 21. So how would be the total? 70. So 70 if you plan to stay on the 13th as well. So either 49 pebbles or 70 pebbles. Alright? So, collect pebbles from 4 jamarat, for hitting jamarat in Muzdalifah. Either 49 or 70. I recommend get some extra as well. A few extra. So that if you lose some, so it should be small, not bricks. Small pea-sized pebbles, right? And it should be pure. So after you get it, it's also good to wash it. One thing, that if you're not able to get it from Jamarat, then you can get it from any place, except what you cannot do is to pick up the pebbles that are thrown by the people at Jamarat. Why? Because there's a hadith that when these pebbles are accepted, then angels come and actually take those pebbles and take it from there. So the pebbles that stay back are those pebbles that are not accepted. So they are cursed. Right? Acceptance is mercy, and whatever Allah Ta'ala doesn't show mercy upon, that's cursed. They're cursed pebbles. So it's not recommended. It's makruh to pick up the pebbles from the place of Jamarat, but you can pick up from everywhere else, but it's sunnah to do it at Muzdalifah. Alright? So spend the night in worship, but then you stay here until the dawn. You stay until the dawn. And that at dawn, or even before dawn, women, old people, sick people, they are allowed to go to Mina before dawn or right at dawn. Alright? But men, healthy men, they must stay a little bit of time after dawn, after the Fajr enters. This is called wuquf or Muzdalifah. So it was wuquf of Arafah, standing in Arafah, staying in Arafah, but it was also necessary, that was fard. This is wajib. For healthy men, it is wajib. Not wajib for women, not wajib for children, not wajib for old people, not wajib for sick people. Even they're men, young men, but they're sick, it's not wajib on them as well. For healthy men, it is wajib to do wuquf of Muzdalifah. Yani staying a little bit after the dawn enters. Yani the Fajr enters. To stay in Muzdalifah for some time. Okay? Pray Fajr in Muzdalifah. That's the wuquf. And then what you can do, so now the 10th of Zulhijjah has entered. This is the busiest day of the Hajj, 10th of Zulhijjah. What do? Then after wuquf of Muzdalifah, yani after the dawn enters, so sometime, even it's like few minutes, that's it. That's your wuquf. Then you make dua there, after you pray Fajr there. Then you move towards Mina. By the way, what if you miss wuquf? For some reason, of Muzdalifah. Yani you leave Muzdalifah before dawn enters. Your Hajj would be valid, but it can be only compensated with a dam. You have to go and give a sacrifice in the Haram area. Alright? If you miss the wuquf of Arafat, your Hajj is null and void. No Hajj. If you leave the wuquf of Muzdalifah for some reason, you have to leave Muzdalifah before dawn, for whatever reason, can be anything. Then you can compensate that by giving dam. So only for healthy men. For others, wukuf is not wajib. Sick people, old people, children, women, it's not wajib on them. They can go before dawn as well. Alright? So for men, healthy men, they do, after dawn enters, they pray Fajr, and then they move on to Mina. So now, what do you do in Mina? After you go to Mina, you have, number one, slide number 143, you pelt the largest shaitan. Large shaitan, 7 stones. 7 stones. So, how do you do that? Slide number 148. So there is basically, alright, first thing, Jamarat. You go toward Jamarat. Jamarat now used to be 1 pillar. It was very difficult. A lot of you might have heard of a lot of incidents that happened. Small little, a pillar, and people coming all over, stampede, a lot of, killing, a lot of deaths. So now they have made a huge wall. And they have made it one way, and they also made a lot of bridges as well. So it's very easy now. Very, very easy. Women can go easily, children can go, men. So it's easy now, very easy to go there. Don't get scared. Just make sure that you're walking, one directional. Well, anyway, you will find it very easy now, inshallah ta'ala. So what do? So this is like the page 144 is just a demonstration of how the wall looks like now. I think it's just the same because it changes all the time. So alright, so look, this 145 is the great Jamara, medium Jamara, and the small Jamara. So they're all in line. So enter from one side. So enter basically is the one way. You you enter from the small Jamara side. Alright, and then so basically first day 10th, you don't do anything to small, you don't do anything to medium. You go to the last one, to the big Jamara, and then where you do the pelting. Alright? So basically what are these spots is where when Sayyidina Ibrahim a.s. was taking Sayyidina Ismail for sacrificing, Shaitan came and tried to distract him at 3 points. These are those 3 points. And again, it's the sunnah of Sayyidina Ibrahim a.s. because he also threw stones to make him run away. Alright, so now, what do? You 147 it says, from dawn to sunrise, to pelt the shaitan is makruh. Sunrise to zawal, it is sunnah. Zawal to sunset is mubah, and is allowed, but sunset to dawn. Remember, the night follows the day, right? So it's all, basically, until next dawn is the 10th of Dhul Hijjah in Hajj days, alright? It's makruh. But, if it's a lot of crowd, now our ulama is saying all times are okay. Alright, don't worry about the times now, that it has to be done at this time. So now our ulama are giving the fatwa that because, the people can get hurt and all of that crowd, so it is okay to do at any time. But this is, as per the traditional teachings, these are the times. So, but this for men. For women, sick, disabled people, old people, there's no makruh time. But now, ulama are saying anybody can go anytime and can get it done, inshallah. How do you do that? You face the wall, alright? You face the wall. Remember, it's the last. It's one way. First day is the last. The biggest Jamra is the last one. So you throw 7 pebbles one at a time. Not all of them at the first one time. Then you'll have to do it because that will be considered. So it's throwing, pelting is throwing. So you have to throw 1, 2. So you hold it on the left hand to pick one, throw. And then you pick 2. Otherwise you all have in one hand, it is a possibility you can throw 2 or 3 more. 2 or 3 at the same time as well. So you hold it with the index finger and the thumb. Between the index finger and the thumb. And ideally speaking, again, all depends on the situation. Ideally, you should raise your hand above the head and you say, Bismillahi Allahu Akbar, and you throw. And it must fall within, so there is, if you go back, see, this is the wall and there is like sort of a wall around that, right? So it's a tall wall and there is a small wall around that. So it's basically a ditch. So all the stones go into that ditch when you throw it. So at least it must fall in the ditch. At least it must fall in the ditch. Ideally should hit the wall, but at least it must fall into the ditch. If it does not fall into the ditch and it does not even hit the wall and does not fall into the ditch, it will not be considered as a proper pelting. As a proper, alright? So say Bismillahi Allahu Akbar and then throw. Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, throw. All 7. Alright? Alright, for the proper, it's called Rami. This Rami means literally to throw. It's called Rami of the Jamarat. So at least 4 should fall into that. Then will be counted. At least 4. Any majority of the 7. Remember, the majority of the 7 must hit or fall into that ditch. Alright? And then, what do? That's it. Don't make any dua. Don't make any dua at that time, on the 10th of Zulhijjah. Now, what next? Next is sacrificing an animal, slaughtering an animal. So slaughtering an animal, your group will do that. In Ahraf, the sequence is important. Sequence is important. At least, the halaq or the qasr has to be done after the sacrifice. So this day, the third thing that is to be done is the halaq or the qasr. Same ruling. But sequence in the Ahnaf is important. So you ask your group leader, is the sacrifice done? Is the sacrifice done? Once it tells you sacrifice has been taken care of on your behalf, then you go to the barber, there are barbers around, you get your halaq or the qasr done. Ideally, halaq. So basically, 1, 2, 3, any pelting, sacrifice, halaq, has to be done in order, in the Ahnaf, according to Hanafi school. Then the fourth thing that has to be done on the 10th is Tawaful Ziyarah. So what you do is go back all the way to Makkah Mukarramah, and you do a tawaf called Tawaful Ziyarah. Tawaful Ziyarah, Sunnah is to do it on the 10th, but it can be done on the 10th or the 11th or the 12th. It can be done either on the 10th or the 11th or the 12th. So ideally, if we can do that, go and get it done on the 10th. Or it can be done on 11th and the 12th as well. Rami, make sure that everybody goes and does their Rami by himself or herself. Alright? Unless, you're ill, you cannot walk, you must not ask anybody to do it on your behalf. Women have to go and do it by themselves. It's not difficult, alright? It's not difficult. Don't get scared. This sacrifice that is done on the 10th is called Dam Shukar. Dam Shukar. It is not that sacrifice that people do slaughtering on the day of Eid. It's not that. It is called Dam Shukar. And it is only done by people who do Hajj Qiran or Hajj Tamattu. It is not wajib on the people who do Hajj Ifrad. What shukr? Shukr of what? Shukr of that Allah Ta'ala gave us the tawfiq of doing Umrah and Hajj. 2 things. So that's why it is not on the people who do Hajj Ifrad. Because they did not do Umrah. So it's not wajib on those people, but this is wajib on the people who do Hajj Qiran or Tamattu. Alright? It's mustahab if people who are doing Hajj Ifrad as well, they want to do it, they can do it, but it's not wajib on them. Alright? So, for people on whom the sacrifice of Eid is wajib, that is different. Okay? But anyway, if you're traveling, the normal, the slaughtering of the day of Eid is not wajib on you in any way. So don't worry about that because you're a traveler right now. So all you have to do is the Dam Shukar. Okay? Same rulings of sacrifice, goat or a sheep per person, or you can also be part of a sacrifice of a cow or a camel which covers 7 people. Understood everything so far? Alright, make sure that you cut your hair after, or halaq or qasr after your sacrifice is done. Tawaf Ziyarah. Alright, timing is from the dawn of the 10th of Dhul Hijjah to the sunset of the 12th of Dhul Hijjah. If you delay after that, then there is dam. Then you'll have to give a sacrifice in haram as a compensation for that. If women, they go into the state of their monthly cycles, then, of course, because they cannot enter the Masjid al-Haram, so of course then they can delay it after the 12th as well, then there is no dam for them, if they is a natural excuse. Now, alright, one thing. When people cut their hair or do their halak after their sacrifice, now they are out of the state of ihram. They can change their clothes. They can take off those 2 pieces of clothes and they can put on their normal clothes. All the prohibitions are lifted, except one prohibition. And that is that they cannot have any romance with their spouse. So remember all of those prohibitions? One of those was being romantic with your spouse. All of the prohibitions are lifted. All of the prohibitions are lifted, except that you cannot still be romantic with your spouse. Alright? So, and that prohibition of being romantic with your spouse is lifted after Tawaf al-Ziyarah. It only is lifted after Tawaf al-Ziyarah. Now, what if the women are in the state of their monthly cycles and say 13th is your flight back? Right? They're still in their monthly cycles. They did not do Tawaf al-Ziyarah, 13th is your flight back, and they cannot, do Tawaf al-Ziyarah, and they come back without doing Tawaf al-Ziyarah. Very dangerous. Because if husband and wife live in their normal marital relationships, it is a huge sin. Because it's still forbidden for you. And some people do that. Very, very dangerous. What to do? That's the question. What to do now? If your flight is next day, of course, Hajj flights can be changed. What to do? So only in these circumstances, when you have a flight back, of course, it can't be changed. It was just walking back, taking a car back, and it could have been easy. You could have stayed